Good morning, grasshoppers. Joining in round 4, very late. Technical issues on the way to the stream. Good morning, Zephyr. Good morning, 3 Deep. How are you? All right, purple one-sized. What Sicilian will it be today? Oh, almost my favorite Sicilian, honestly. The B3 Sicilian. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this particular Sicilian. In fact, I am completely torn on what to do about this. I'm gonna go with natural development, just like you, as though it were natural always. You are. Do your complimentary checkup. See where we can go from here. Can I play b5? That's a very good question. Keep the lockdown on his dark square bishop. Yes. There's a possible fork in the near future. Let's see what we can do with the fork. Taking advantage of a pin in the near future. Not so sure about this one. So how is he defending that? Or should we just... We're going to continue our methods. Knight to d5. He does get an open file. Not the one that he wants, though. Where are you headed? You know what? I'm just going to hide in the corner for just one moment as I double rooks. Can I do it this way? Some of you may have deducted what the technical issue was this morning. Some small physical pain. Let's see who predicts it first. What could have kept me from getting online straight away? Zephyr, are you in the audience? Could be time. What I need is a moist cloth. Do I need a moist cloth to stop the bleeding? I don't know. I almost didn't make it. I was debating on whether or not it was bleeding so badly that I had to not stream. It's what happens when you do too many things at the same time. Ouch. That bishop will be missed. I don't think it'll be missed by Zephyr, though. Oh, did he miss another chance? No! He missed rook takes d5 and bishop takes e4 mate. Instead of playing rook takes a7, Zephyr, you missed that. In that last game, that was round number... A very cute tactic. Wasn't mate in one, obviously. Lara, good morning. You are officially underrated. So Zephyr, you were asking about the Queen's Indian the other day. The Queen's Indian is an opening that you can really only play against d4, c4, knight f3. So I'm not entirely sure what the quality of it was, but basically the Queen's Indian, the Benoni, the Boko Indian, the Ragozin can only really be played against knight f3 on the third move. Let's see if I can show you what I mean. I don't know if Lara is going to play something different today, but we are going to do something different today. That's enough. Good morning, Kingslayer Sloan. Well, my opponent did not oblige. No, the accelerated Queen's Indian defense, I don't believe in. I don't believe in it. The problem with the Queen's Indian defense is that it's not quite dynamic enough. Let's just take an issue that a student had many years ago, okay? For example, even in this opening, the trickiness about my opponent's move order, right? With a pawn on c6, the knight on d2 is poorly placed. So they recapture with the pawn on c6 rather than on e6. But it looks as though I'm getting a lead in development no matter what. I'm going to go for a French defense style position. Can I do that? Or is my opponent going to force something to happen that may or may not be good for me? Uh-oh. Moment of truth. Yeah, I mean, The Queen's Indian is an equalizing measure against D4. I mean, it's like one of the time-honored, tested true things. I don't know that I would go out of my way to play the Queen's Indian. Oh, boy. Yeah, my opponent does have... Wait a minute now. You had that before. How much am I getting for this? I'm not liking it. I'm sacking more than I planned on sacrificing. Whoa! Dude. What did you do that for? Do I get a little bit of play now? I am gonna strive for whatever I can strive for. Whoa. I should have taken on H7. This is not good. I think Lara's gonna beat me. Do we have any odds on this? This is forced. Very close to getting mated, I have to admit. Nicely done, Lara. She beat me legitimately. This is the first legitimate win, right? Let's just check all the simul wins. I just wanted to see where I got out of control. I think I was thinking about the Queen's Indian the whole time. Yeah, c takes d5 is not the most principled approach. Neither is e4. I just want to see where I went wrong. Knight to b3 rather than placing the rooks. Queen c5 is also, I guess, more direct. But certainly I believe placing a rook is key here. Oh, is that the problem? The problem is d4 is hanging. The queen c5 is the best move. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's check our lower lip. It's not bleeding all over the place, so that's good. Yeah, queen to c5 is the only move. Honestly. Look on A to d1 would appeal to me, yeah. Got F to d1. Bishop takes g6 and then queen c5. I don't like it. Let's watch Gleb versus Zephyr. Oh no! Well, that's horrible. I have to rename that one. That screen that you just saw is going to be the chessable screen. Chessable, Chess 24, and play Magnus. Oh no! And rename my current scene. Fine. I guess we'll do it with our current scene. Oops, I accidentally played, we're going to test him in the main line. See what he plays here. First things first, H4 is always useful. See what he remembers. He remembers. He remembers. Good for you, sir. Now, of course, I can lose a piece here if I'm not careful. I'm just getting pushed around. I don't think I want a castle on that side of the board anymore. It's getting pushed around so much. See if we can get one slimy move in, edgewise, against the very wise old Yamato. I recommend C5. Oh, no, I don't. Actually, I don't mind the Queen's Indian in that position. It's a time-honored, tested system, honestly. I don't know about this. I really want that knight to go back as well. Well, that was a wee bit far, don't you think? What's guarding this? He's going after my pawn. My pawn. He's threatening bishop g4 as well. This fellow is not nice. Getting pushed around, folks. He had knight to c5. Woo! He had knight to c5. That was going to cause me a great amount of pain. It really was going to cause me a great amount of pain. e5 might have even caused me quite a bit of pain there. Knight takes d5 is a threat. Well, that's a temporary solution. Protecting grabbing the only open file, if I can. Ready to explode right up in the sky. So this is still hanging. Small amount of overworkage here as I convert to the touch screen. Okay. Only one small problem with this picture. Oh, he does get to play that. Nine. We're going to try to keep everything hanging. Fortunately, he's not mating me after rook to e2 check. So are we winning this bishop versus rook endgame? Looks like we are. Whew. He can't trade, but he has to get his king in as fast as humanly possible. From London to Saigon. Now I'm really torn. Wow. Uh-oh. 2 seconds. Yamato is very resourceful. Oh, that wasn't it. He's got to threaten knight to c5. Not this. You have to threaten knight to c5. That was the one that caused me the most difficulty. Whew. Although I could run out of time. Quicksilver, beast mode. Keeping me in my place. Congratulations to Zephyr and Yurasov Matfi. Yeah, knight c5 was the draw, yeah. Definitely the Nimzo. The two most reliable combinations of the Nimzo and the Queen's Indian. Absolutely. But the Gozen gives you some fighting chances. All right, so here's the problem, right? The problem is, I'm going to go back to the other live scene that wasn't so great. I'm only going to set this up one time. I'm going to get something redeemable out of this stream, even though... Why does this tell me how you really feel in this playlist? Why is this in this playlist? I actually removed that song from the playlist. Well, we started with this song, so we might as well begin with it. All right. Content display. I don't want to rename the content window. Study time window, don't want to rename that one. 1 second. I wasn't able to log into Chessable earlier this morning. It was very annoying. Reload. I'm going to find it. I'm actually going to do... What is going on with Chessable? Is Chessable down or something? I wasn't able to log in earlier. It just seems so strange that I'm unable to log in, and now I'm not getting anything. Is Chessable down? I'm going to try a different browser window. It has the login screen. I'm glad I didn't do it full screen because it would have doxed my email address, my other email address. Really? Have I forgotten my login? Delete chess? I'm trying a different browser. All right, good. The Chessable does seem to be up. I just can't create... I cannot create a shortcut in that particular browser window. All right, one more time with Chessable. I'm going to close the window and open it. Wow. Chrome is just not reacting very well. We may need to start this one. That's so bizarre. I'll be right there. For those viewers who are watching who've not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, now is the time. We're also browsing there, interestingly enough. I mean, we're also streaming there. I really want to get the instructional streams up this morning rather than do Simuls, but can't have everything. All right, so it seems to be working here. All right. It looks like I've got the shortcut working. All right, one moment. Sorry about that. Small delay. Window capture. I'm hoping to do this for both of them. And one second, everybody. We're almost there. Taking much longer. Oh, that it is. I guess that's got to be it. Let's just shrink this to the appropriate degree, because it just took over my whole screen. That's the optimal size of window. Trim it just a little bit. Trim it just a little bit on this side. I don't know. I don't really want to lose the Chessable logo or the Master Chess Dojo logo. Oh, fine. I just want to trim it so that it looks neat. We're going to center it. How about that? We'll center it. We'll make it bigger. We'll get rid of the other window for a moment. That almost looks like it belongs. I like it. All right. So let's see. We go to courses for the most part. God, it pains me to go to openings. If we search for Queen's Indian, oh, there's a free version. There's a free version of the current Queen's Indian. Yes. And of course, you've got your accelerated Queen's Indian defense if you really want it. That avoids an Imso Indian, by the way. I also like the Jinji Indian, which is A6. Magnus Carlsen has played A6 as well. Well, I disagree. I really do disagree with this. The fierce Nimzo Indian. Hold on, there's a Queen's Indian lifetime repertoire. How do I find that? Let's just say I thought it was by Roisman. Lifetime repertoire. Is there a separate category for lifetime repertoire? There should be, right? I have it archived. I have to recover the archive. Going back in time, the German Magnus Carlsen. Queen versus Rook endgame. Highly recommended. The Magnus Queen's Gambit may be A6 on the third move, by the way. That avoids a lot of stuff. Close some windows here. There we go. Now I'm back. There was a little bit of a trick involved. I wonder if I can adjust it like this. That would be ideal. And then I can expand it. But first things first, let's just let's keep it the same. Queen's Indian lifetime repertoire. I think I have to put it in the search. How about that? Oh, you know what it is? It's under Nimzo. The Nimzo Ragozin by this particular author. The Nimzo Semi-Terrace is also rather interesting by Surya Ganguly. So yeah, this one I like, but I'm not a big fan. By the way, I repeat, I am not a big fan of a lot of these courses. That's why I don't own them. There are, of course, some cheaper alternatives. I like Mikey. She actually has a short and sweet version as well of the Nimzo. One moment. Well, there's a free. Pardon me while I grab that one. I am going to grab that one just because I like to peruse all the openings via short and sweets. Paresh and Siliki's Nimzo Indian. I was pretty sure that I had a lifetime repertoire in here, right? Didn't I have lifetime repertoire? What happened to the lifetime repertoire? I guess that was the end of it. Oh, the Catalan? The Jobava London? Total randomness, honestly. Learning how not to play chess. I know I've lost him as he moves over. I really do love the classical Sicilian. There's absolutely the lifetime repertoires in something like the classical Sicilian will never go unrewarded. Absolutely never go unrewarded. Modern Benoni, French Defense, Caro Khan, Queen's Gambit declined, Sam Shanklin, Semi-Slav, King's Indian Defense. Good God. There are a lot of lifetimes to be studied here. Peter's Fiddler's Grunfeld. Do I not have Peter's Fiddler's Grunfeld Part 2? The only thing that I'm curious about as far as the lifetime repertoire goes with the Nimzo Ragozin is how does black react to the Catalan in that line? What does anybody have an answer to that? How does black react to the Catalan? The Bogo Indian avoids the Catalan for certain. You definitely get Bogo Indian-esque. All right, I'm going to refine my search. How about that? We're going to go with the Bogo lifetime repertoire. This is the one I was looking for. I've already given that. Bogo. Bongo, Bogo. The active Bogo Indian Defense. By Irina Bulmaga. Good for her. Now, what I'm very happy about if I should be happy about anything. I think I'm going to lock that one in. Is there a free version of this course? Next moment of truth. Short and sweet Bogo Indian. Yes, there is a short and sweet version of this. Let's take a quick peek at what she wishes here. Already we have our usual things that we want to correct. First things first, let's just do this from the start. Chesapeake tutorial. Let's change our stream title real quick. Chesapeake tutorial and improvements. We'll change our stream title ever so slightly. Well, maybe a lot, right? Lead chess will know that I'm not there anymore. All right. One of the truly great things about Chessable is a variety of courses that are available and offered. For example, for those of you who are new to Chessable, one of the most important things to do personally is to examine all their free books in tactics and strategy. You can look at all their strategy, you can go to the free strategy, and you can get quite a number of free lessons and introductions to other books that are really, really important. I can't stress how important it is to sample the books on Chessable and to get exactly the right balance of openings, strategy, tactics, and endgames. For example, if we look at my owned courses, you can actually see your own owned courses in both strategy and tactics, and you can do quite a number of them. Now I have completed all of this except for, let's just make sure that I've finished everything in here. I was fairly certain that I had finished everything. Steinitz versus Simon Winnower. Why is Black's last move bad, which was knight back to f6? It looks like he's trying to cover. Well, I've already ruined it. Let's start again. Chessable has a number of free courses that are offered. You can easily find all of them by going to courses, all courses. Maybe you can even look at free. You can choose by subject. I want to get openings here since it stands out so much. And when you click on free, then there are short and sweet samples of almost every opening under the sun. I actually recommend that you definitely try out and play through the variations that you would like repeatedly and in the recommended review fashion to a great extent. Now, interestingly enough, you can also go to the sales. There are amazing sales. The #1 book that I'm recommending now in the sales department is under strategy, and it's Grind Like a Grandmaster by David Howell and Magnus Carlsen. You don't get a better duo than this. This book will attempt to guarantee you, or at least to guarantee you a path toward that great unclear strategy in dealing with positions where there's nothing concrete to do. And towards the greater goal of, if you're in a slightly worse position, obtaining a draw, and if you're in a slightly better or equal position, obtaining a win rather than a draw. And of course, there are quite a number of videos to take advantage of this. If I click on Magnus Carlsen, it opens up a new window, but I can, of course, go back. We can look at the chess strategy free. There's a free version if you're a pro member. There are many advantages to being a pro member, by the way. If you're a pro member, then you get exclusive access to a lot of books and videos, like a free course by Magnus. And it's not that short. This particular book is not that short. Several things that I like to do at the start, at the outside, is I like to study all moves rather than the key moves. Almost always, it will be by default set to key moves. I prefer all moves, and I also prefer reps. As for the opening, I usually prefer 2 reps. This is not an openings course, so it's not really going to have a default. Each book actually has its own default. And I also like to turn off the timer. Most timers are set for 60 seconds. I like to make it unlimited. That way, if you have to answer a phone call, or if you are on a, or you have to return a text message while you're studying, especially if you're on a second screen, you won't get the answer wrong. And in this manner, then once you are able to go to a review, you can choose how to go about it. In this particular instance, forking knight and a pawn, removing the defender of the pawn, and then crossing and covering with the bishop in order to reach an endgame. Now, it automatically went to the next. Sometimes I like to turn off auto next when working with students. This is really, really important. Turning off auto next allows you to read the text that is part of the instruction. And this way you can play through the text in the instruction as you see fit with an arrow key on your keyboard. You can also go through a variety of alternative moves here. In the initial position, if we had, I guess it's not quite the initial position. Yes, if we had played bishop to c4, black had an interesting defense in the form of b5. Now, if you don't understand what's going on, there's an analysis board which you can try to bring up. Unfortunately, it's going to open up another window that you can analyze with an engine the position that's in front of you. But let's look at it for just one moment. We can't capture so easily with the bishop because we're going to lose the bishop on a5. So we can't capture with the rook because then we've set ourselves up for the fork. So interestingly enough, this course by Magnus Carlsen is for intermediate players. You're going to have to reason out quite a bit yourself. They should have a note here for the average viewer or for the casual viewer on why b5 is such a good move. After all, if the rook captures, you can flip the board if you'd like. But I don't think that's necessary. You can also resize your chessboard. This may come in handy depending on how you want to read the material. I don't necessarily know that it's that important. However, under the settings, one more time, I do like to change the teach speed or the quiz speed. You can change the quickness of the animation. Let's lower it for the viewing purposes so you can see these. And at the same time, I also like the teach chain in an opening to be greater than one move. We'll come back to this because we'll look at an opening course next. And of course, we can also just go on to the next lesson here. So here, there's an immediate weakness on these squares. White squares, white pawns. I believe we can attack them. That's incorrect. Is it rook to b5? Then we can exchange because we can create two passed pawns 2 or more files apart. But be very mindful that in order to win a bishop's opposite color endgame, you do need 2 passed pawns 2 or more files apart. And here they're going to be 3 apart. This is going to be our candidate passed pawn. There we go. Wanted it in yellow. This is the one I think it was. Is this the one I think it was? Yes. Now we do walk into a bit of a fork when he attempts to protect the second rank with the use of a tactic check. We're not going to exchange. We're going to grab the material. Then we're going to trade rooks. block the check, and then we will pinpoint the weaknesses. So either we're going to have a connected passed pawn, or we're going to have a clear passed pawn on this side of the board. Connected passed pawn may be enough to ensure a good grind. We've reviewed all of our chapters, courses here. Okay, so the Ragozin. Honestly, I'll be honest here. I'm not a huge believer in the Ragozin for all occasions. The Ragozin, as opposed to the Nimzo-Indian, involves putting a pawn on d5. So this means that, whereas in the Nimzo-Indian, when the bishop is exchanged for the knight on c3, black has the additional option of placing his pawns on dark squares with d6, knight on b to d7, and e5, and or c5. And reserving d5. But in the Ragozin, it's technically a queen's gambit declined. So you would probably be able to figure this out if, as I mentioned before, I'd say figure it out for yourself whether or not this suits you. As I mentioned before, you go through the short and sweets in each of those books, if you can find the short and sweets in each of those books. One of the key factors in finding the short and sweets is to search for the author's name. So if you know that you're searching for Irina Bulmaga, right, who had a great interview on the Perpetual Chess podcast, then we will go to courses, openings, and when we search for chess openings, we can search for Bulmaga. Oops, I even spelled it wrong and it came up correct. So she has 4 courses. The Rue Lopez with G6. Now, I am a very dynamic player. I do believe in activity, so I'm not necessarily a good grinder, which is why I'm going to be learning from good buddy David Howell and Magnus Carlsen. And as I mentioned before, we're gonna start off. We're going to do a quick sample in the Nimzo-Indian. Notice that I've turned off the timer. Well, I haven't turned off the timer in this particular book. And it wants me to learn one move at a time. Watch this. Now it's going to show me another move, and it's going to ask me to study this move. So it looks like this is the Bogo Indian proper at the moment. You will have to figure out the Bogo Indian against the Catalan as well, if that is an option, if that is even considered in this volume. Right? So rather than continuing this, oops, one moment, yet, of course I want to go back. I don't know if you saw that, but basically when I click on the chapter title, I'm going to run down. I want to study all moves. The difference between key moves in an opening and all moves is that if you're an experienced player, when you go from chapter to chapter, it may start you on move number 5 rather than remembering where the moves came from. If you're a beginning player or a younger player, you will want to remember where the moves came from and get full credit for remembering the first 5 moves of an opening. Again, we're going to turn off this timer so that we can learn this in peace. We could watch the video, which is 1 hour long, quite lovely. I will let you check that out for yourselves. Now, there are 2 ways to approach the Catalan. There's the Catalan without knight f3. There are those players that play d4, c4, and g3 on the 3rd move, a la Korchnoi, Kasparov. And that's one of the reasons why I like the Benoni as well. I like the Benoni and the King's Indian in several lines against fianchetto variations. Just because fixing a pawn on d5 is both a blessing and a curse for white, as far as the space advantage goes. Meanwhile, being here, Notice that we're still in the teach chain mode of 1. Now I'm going to switch down here and I'm going to show you how I got to it. I had to click on the settings within the chapter of the game that I'm studying. This will do it for the whole book, or it will do it for my entirety. Stop it for text. Stop in all cases. I do like to stop for text. I'm not a huge fan of stopping for arrows and circles. And we could also stop within a teach chain periodically. The teach chain for us is going to be 3 moves. This means that we're going to be learning something every single time. So with this move, Black enters, Bogo, Indian, yada, 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 notice how when you're studying your teach chain, you can actually read what is going on. Now, it's a little trickier on a mobile interface. Doesn't batter bishop f1 for what it's worth. I think that's for what it's worth. Just reading, just keeping up with the comment. Typical example that we will be seeing throughout this course is b6, bishop to b7, castles d6, knight on b to d7. So notice that this is a key operating move in the Nimzo-Indian. I love the diverseness of the Nimzo-Indian. I love the dynamics of the Nimzo-Indian. I don't think I would be a very good Ragozin. Queen's Gambit decline person, although I have played Queen's Gambit, and I'm not afraid of playing the Queen's Gambit in a variety of ways. It's just that having a fixed set of moves is not always my cup of tea. So in general, though, so it's stopping here within the teach chain, by the way, showing us b6, bishop to b7. And again, we're going to be playing. So this Bulmaga book is covering the hybrid system with the Nimzo-Indian and the Queen's Indian, which is just another form of the Nimzo-Indian to me. It's mostly a Nimzo-Indian. If white ever puts their knight on c3, we often play b6 and bishop b7 in the Nimzo-Indian. Notice how lovely this is. The idea is that if the white has the bishop pair and no double pawns, the bishop on c3 will not be ideally placed, especially after knight e4, which we're going to scarf the bishop. We have to go after the bishop straight away, lest it get away. And it's nice because when you're reading the text, you don't have to hurry on thinking on c3 as bishop to b4 is not dangerous thanks to c5, attacking the center. So here we are again with e3. We are going to capture. We're going to play knight e4. And we're going to castle. Now, another feature here is that this bishop remains wide open along the diagonal. This is a feature of most Nimzo-Indians, and it's the one thing that attracted me to it the most. From Alekine's early games, he would often reach a structure like this, and it gives you the option of playing g5, g4, or rook f6, rook g6, however you choose. I love the flexibility of the Nimzo-Indian. So, needless to say, we're playing f5. We're going to play d6 to get our knight into the game. We do have to pay attention to all of our opponent's threats. And we're playing c5. Again, we're reinforcing our knight. Preparing c5 and knight on b to d7 so as to not obstruct our pieces. And now we have our teach chain repetition. And we're just going to merely play out all the moves that we learned. I believe we take, it's an alternative. It's not necessary to do it now. Notice how we are controlling the e4 square. Knight to e4 would lose a piece to the seesaw tactic or the mill tactic, where the knight comes back and recaptures. So we're going to capture first, bother the bishop, and kick castle. Reinforce our knight with f5. Prepare to play c5 and knight on b to d7. And attack white's center with c5. This is our third time through. We managed to pass the first two tests. Remember, I also like to set the quiz, the default repetition, to only 2. If I don't get it in 2, then it's going to give you a third one if you get anything incorrect. I also like c5 in this position. We don't have to play f5 just yet. No rush to take the bishop. Reinforce our knight. Prepare c5 and knight on b to d7. Attack the center. And everything is good. Now, unfortunately, when I go through a short and sweet like this, I immediately start playing all the variations. So if you were to play in a tournament or an arena or a Swiss, regardless, or a simul, I would hope that you get it. The thing that I don't necessarily like for viewers in simul cases, this is the Nimzo Indian line 2. Now, constantly opening up new windows here. One of the things is I would like to open it in this window. Without having to go back to the beginning. So for example, I have to go back to the original one without it opening up a new window. Of course, this is par for the course. Change my default reps to 2. I really want to see each line 2 times. I do want to review what was going on. And if you don't remember the second time, I guarantee you it is because you don't understand the idea behind it. And that's why it's important to read the text behind the moves. So we can actually look through all of the lines in the browse feature. So knight on b to d2 against bishop to b4. Bishop to d2 against bishop b4. She's recommending queen e7. Other moves are a5 and c5, but queen e7, of course, is the active move, which also helps to assist with both d6, knight on b to d7, and e5. If you want to go back into the Nimzo Indian, white recapturing with the queen. We'll see that the short and sweet does not deal with the Catalan at all, which is okay. Let's go back to the Queen's Indian Defense Tournament Edition. We have to go page by page through this, but we don't really have, as it turns out, the Miles variation is bishop f4 against the Queen's Indian. The Sprava variation is knight f3, possibly g3 or bishop g5, depending on what black does. Trojan variation is a3, preventing the hybrid variation that we just saw. And then we also have the main line here. And in the main line of the Queen's Indian, this is definitely where we have to consider what's going on as we review. You can also read all of these books just like a course. You can read through everything, you can play through the moves. You can go to the next page and see everything here. So for example, if white is playing the Catalan, the Queen's Indian is a very realistic. It does matter if white plays g3 on move number 3 instead of knight f3. This means you're not getting the Queen's Indian in as easily. I repeat, you're not getting the Queen's Indian in. There are also some other features which are really cool. I don't know that it's available here, where you can go to the Openings Explorer under Tools. And the Openings Explorer, this is just like Lee Chess, by the way. It's just like lead chess, very much like ChessBase's opening tree. And you can actually look at all of the published courses or your own variations. And this is also where you would create a tree of your own. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6, g3. This is the catch. We're going to be looking at this from black's perspective. Now, personally, this is why I prefer c5 in the Benoni. You can see that the disparity here and the percentage of wins is greater if black plays the Benoni. Bogo Indian, and of course the Catalan proper. c6 I'm less familiar with. I'm just going to click on c6 for a moment just to see what's going on here. Is this going to appear in any courses? I don't know. Do you want to know what I mean by is it going to appear in any courses? For example, after e4, c5, knight f3, d6, you can find a position in the courses. That's what I needed to do in the previous one. Now, of course, the Openings Explorer, let's just see where this is. Find in courses, brings up the window with all the Catalan stuff. Nimzo Semiteres, Nimzo Ragozin, so you can find everything you want for yourself using the Opening Explorer tool. You can play through these variations that say, I want to find the variation that Yeatenheimers is playing against me. Yeah, I am not a coach that wants to tell you what opening to play. I am a trainer and a coach for a long time now who believes that the opening finds you. You will make missteps just like anything else. But if I tell you an absolute opening to play, let's just say I say you have to play the Exchange Slav as white, and you quit chess in 2 years, I would definitely take part responsibility for that. If you were playing the Exchange Slav and the Exchange French and the Exchange whatever, and you're playing very dry positions that don't afford you anything, forget about it, right? This isn't the line that I wanted to look at. I wanted to look at the Nimzo. I wanted to look at the hybrid variation here. And it's a very good one, by the way. Knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6. You could find this position in courses. That's the position we're looking for. So we have Camille Plukta's Lifetime Accelerated Dragon. Let's just go back for a moment to the variation that we were looking at. Notice that you can also choose the variation that provides the most results, right? Like if you want black to win here, let's play bishop c4 and allow black to play e6. We're on our way to losing with white. Let's not do that. So, for example, knight c3 is pretty resilient. Bishop to b5, you can understand its popularity going back by results, but I like the flexibility of learning. Just going to keep clicking on the main line. You can learn the openings very quickly this way. d6 is the most dynamic way of beating this. And personally, well, wait a minute, that wasn't the move that we wanted. Bishop e2 is really the most popular move. That's a terrible move. Bishop c4. Castles for black. Bishop b3. d6. And f3 is the move that is going to transpose all the way back. Now, bishop d7 is the most popular move, and depending on whether or not white wants to play queen d2 or h4 first is entirely up to them. Apparently h4 has got a lot more oomph to it, queen to d2. So this is where Magnus Carlsen and Anand had a game where they played the... And I'm positive that Anish Giri recommends this one. We're going to find this in the courses. Oh, I take it back. It is dealt with in Dismantling the Sicilian. So I immediately can go to my shelf and start reading up on that now. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to remember our opening choices, so we do have to remember where we were going. So notice that this is a modern dragon transition, so you will find the position that we just looked at in the modern dragon, not the Najdorf, but the modern dragon. Bishop c4 variations, bishop b3. Now we're actually hemming and hawing our way back, right? So in the main modern dragon, we don't have to remove our bishop from c4, which is where I played a game against Grandmaster Alonso Zapata. As black, he did not move his bishop off of c4. He chose the immediate castles. Or did he choose the immediate? Both of these moves is what he chose. It's less effective to play bishop to b3. And knight takes d4. Queen a5 is what is being played by the most annoying opponent in the world at the moment. And I've played both at castles and h4. Castles gives me a little bit more flexibility, but we can also just find this in the courses. And we can see that this particular position is not covered in any books. Isn't that interesting, right? But it is covered in Chess Principles Reloaded King Safety, which we will add to our cart, because Grandmaster Andrus Toth, how are you? Yeah, I was just showing how to use Chessable, and I haven't bothered to look up our thing. I still see that I favor the knight takes d4 and b5 line over yours, but interestingly enough, you are on the path to Grandmaster, ye Eatonheimers. You really are. Andrus Toth is one of the legends of our stream. Chess coach Andrus. I'll give him a separate one there. Very lively, very entertaining. Never cuts to the chase. So for the most part, yes, this is what's in my basket at the moment. I may remove this one since it's not on sale. Or I might ask Chessable or any of these books as part of sponsor, as part of my promoting the product and doing my best, because the guys there are very friendly. We'll see. I'm going to send an email now, and we will do it again. Thank you, Rogan. Again, just a quick review on Chessable and its improvements. If I can spell it correctly. Did I spell it incorrectly? Let's at least spell it properly, for Christ's sakes. I do recommend being a pro member. It gives you a lot of options. It's absolutely not necessary, because you can get by without being a pro member, but one of my favorite features of being a pro member is that you get your difficult moves, and you get to click on your difficult moves, and you get to review those particular moves that are causing a problem. Yesterday we were showing this. We showed that we cut off the rook, and then we bothered the rook, and then we started to collect our material. I inadvertently just grabbed a pawn without thinking, but the correct move was to target all of the weaknesses. So this way we're targeting several weaknesses rather than just one. In other words, and Black's king will not be safe. No, dude, you're on your way. I cannot wait to see you grow. Again, you can see that in my course I have, I'm reviewing the whole variation, and I'm using the Chessable Space recommended method. They have 5 minutes as a default on theirs. I usually change it to, I almost always change it to unlimited. If we go back to the chapter list, you can actually go within a chapter and you can review the moves in small batches, or you can just choose a variation to review, like exercise number 1. And in this particular case, you can see that this is a common theme of bringing the rooks into the game, opening up the lines. We have every piece. Even though this is William Steinitz, they have lovely quotes included in the Woodpecker Method. Perhaps one of the most expensive tactic books that you could buy that is well worth it. So here you don't really see the arrows and everything in my course that I mentioned I'm putting up for publishing. You do have to put in those arrows and do the instruction for the most part. We'll exit this and we'll look at the exercise 2 that we just studied, or exercise 1 that we just studied without it, and you'll see that the author has put in the arrows as well as the words. Not. That's okay. I'm not always a believer in the arrows, especially in these advanced manuals. Going back in time here, you do have your group of friends that you're following on the side. Merpant is ahead of me for the moment. I will amend that by the end of the day. You can create your own books. And in this particular case, you can, I'm only up to 3,790 words. I'm going to have to fix that, right? I wonder if that includes the chapter titles. Maybe I'll get some work done on this today while it's raining. In any event, yeah, I started the stream broken without any board today. For the first so many games, I was just showing this on the screen. It was very annoying. Oh, not that one. Yeah, I was showing this particular board for the entirety of the first couple of games. And it took a moment to fix that. In any event, I will make a little bit of a punch list to work my way through all of these things. And we can reset all of our things to the defaults, by the way. Go up here and click on settings for your profile, where you can change your username. You can actually change your username free once, and then you have to pay in rubies. Rubies are collected here. You can see that I have 136 rubies. I put them into a little bit of savings, though, on the whole. And you can change your... everyone can see the courses I'm studying. People who I follow can leave me a message. And only Chessable members, of course, can see my profile. Let's just do people who I follow can see my profile. Who can see my profile? I want everyone to see my Chessable profile. Nah, not really. I don't want them to see all of the books unless they're actually a member of Chessable. I do get a lot of random messages if I don't. So we go to the study settings, basically. In the study settings, I'm not going to click on email. That's where you can change your email address. It will show your current email. What unit? I actually think that I'm going to change it to the number of variations rather than the number of moves. I did not see that one before. So I can see the number of variations rather than the number of moves that need to be studied. The number of moves is useful because that way you can invest the proper amount of time knowing that you have to do this. This has been moved to the Move Trainer page. Showing you the solution on failure is another feature that commonly people find a little bit of grief with. So for example, if I am in the woodpecker method, let's just go to the woodpecker method. We can fail on an alternative good move and see the solution, or we get to retry. That means that the move will appear with a little yellow feature for the most part. Again, I'm just going to go within the easy exercises to do a review. And here you also have tactics. You can actually just show the solution and you can cycle through all of them this way without ever reviewing. Oh, it also shows the solution on this page. Interesting. So if we are to review this, we already know that the answer is bishop takes f4 and e5. Notice I don't have it on auto next, or at least that one I didn't. All settings, main settings. This is where you choose maximum retries for a mistake. I have it. I thought I had it at the maximum. I don't know why I chose 19, but I do want to keep trying. This animation speed is a little slow. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. Teach speed. I'm going to speed that up a little bit when learning. Oh, and they have many more chess sets to choose from. So if you like the Chessable, not the Chessable, if you like the chess.com pieces, you can actually choose them. Do they have a transparent board set available? No, huh? Glass? Let's just take a quick look at that. Although these are the Chessable pieces. Again, going to all settings, I always change my teach speed to 3 moves. Most of you, I recommend 2 moves at a time. Learn 2 moves at a time of every opening and read the text. Stop for text. I'm not a big fan on stopping for arrows and circles because it's less important. It's very confusing sometimes. I believe too many arrows far more confusing. But it's up to the individual if they like to see those visual. Basically, if you choose a different checkmate than the one, let's say you're in a pawn checkmate chapter and there's also a queen checkmate chapter, checkmate, you can play the queen checkmate. It'll always be correct if the checkmate evaluation is on. Always correct. I don't really need to hide the hint one, though. You do the recap. Let's exit. Again, now we know that we only have 200 variations to review in this particular chapter. We can find our way. Were we on this one before? I don't know that we actually solved this one the previous time. We could try to solve it, or we could just move on. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring this to a close as well. But I just wanted everyone to understand the power of Chessable and what it needs to do. As I switch to my... Oh, wait. Did I actually do that? That was terrible. Now I'm going to duplicate this one. This will always be the Chessable Magnus Carlsen tutorial. We're going to go to this one. I'm going to turn off the Play Magnus, go back to the Lichess Capture window. And let's see, did we have another choice here? Duplicate this one again. Do we want to duplicate this one again? Yes, we do. And we're going to go with the Chess24 full screen. How about that? When we were watching our live events. So when we are here, we want to watch Uppsala in Sweden. We also have a choice of the British Chess Championships. Now, moment of truth time. How much of this can we actually trim out? That's a way of jinxing a guy. Grandmaster Mishra at age 12, June 30th, 2021. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding that, to be honest. But let's just see our course correction here. Now, I do want to trim this. If I can. Green 1. Whoa, wait a minute now. we want to trim it in from the right. That was better. This is the chessable window that I want to show. I'm going to trim it some more. And why do we have all that white space on the left, right? Is that terrible or what? Let's trim that all in, for the most part, and then we can just recenter it. We're recentering it under the title and the follower goal. Fair enough. We'll figure this one out later, for the most part, as we feature it. And from here, the controversy is that his, basically, I think that it was result manipulation. There was a bit. If you search for Mishra and Karyakin, basically Karyakin did the same thing to become the youngest grandmaster in the world, which is unfortunate, but it happens. C'est la vie. What can you do? Stick around for the raid, please, and you can annoy your favorite streamer. Looking around, we're about to get a true test of the rating system as we shove off. Thank you to everyone who came today, participated in the training. I'm going to have to edit this one. I'm going to highlight this separately for the chess-based tutorial, or for the Chess 24 tutorial. In any event, thanks everyone. I want to thank those who, the support team for the most part, the moderators that we have here. Kingslayer Sloan, oh, Mad Quick Chess, a somewhat retired stream. Kingslayer Sloan, let's get one more shout out for him. If you're not following him, then you should. I think the most recent development, Chess Bay had a have a great day. Cheers.